So today's video is going to be different. Today I want to tell you about a time very recently that I thought my music career had sort of ended and that I was going to have to work really hard to overcome an injury that I had. And this is because Now that is what I heard when I ruptured my left eardrum. And that is what this video is about. This is not medical advice, so please don't take it as that if you happen to have this condition or have this happen to you. But this is my experience, and it was terrifying, to be honest with you, especially as a musician. Obviously, anybody, with their hearing affected, it's a big deal. But for somebody who does this for a living and needs to be able to hear and hear accurately, it is very freaky to have something like this happen to your ear. So what happened was I got hit in the head, and I got hit in the head by one of my children with their head. And they're fine, totally fine. They were unfazed. They had no idea that I was severely injured. But what had happened was the impact caused my left eardrum to rupture. When this happened, I felt like a bomb had gone off next to me. It was unbelievable. The pain, the just disoriented feeling I had, and I really didn't know what had happened. Once I figured out that my kid was okay and that I was the only one injured, that's when I started to hear what sounded like, well, first of all, nothing. I couldn't hear anything. And then as the sensation of hearing came back, what I had was just a roaring sound in my ear. Water rushed, but it was just the weirdest thing that I've ever experienced. I now know what that was, and I'll tell you about that in just a second, so stick around. But I was afraid I had a concussion, and I was afraid there was some serious damage. I didn't know what had happened to my inner ear, but all I knew is that I could no longer hear out of my left ear. All I heard was just awful noises. And I was in intense pain. So once my wife checked on me and kind of figured out that maybe I didn't need to go to the emergency room, we talked to a doctor and sort of went through a little bit of a concussion protocol. I waited till the next morning, went to a doctor, and they verified that my eardrum had in fact burst. I had to keep water out of my ear, and then it was just kind of a waiting game because you might need surgery. Most people don't, but you just don't know. I went to the ENT. I saw a scope. It was very cool. I mean, from a kind of a technical science standpoint. But I immediately saw that there was a gaping hole in my eardrum. He showed me my right ear, which was good. So I knew what I was looking at and had some point of reference. But now things started to make sense as to what I was hearing and feeling. So the doctor told me that the reason why I couldn't hear, and then I had all of that crazy noise, was that my inner ear had filled with blood. So that's kind of crazy, but that's what had happened. It did not come out my ear. It does happen that way for some people. For me, I think it actually drained through the eustachian tube here because I had the weird sensation and not really taste, but just sensation on this side of my throat for about a day or so. So I'm pretty sure that's what that was. According to the doctor, that is what had happened. Now, ordinarily, when you burst an eardrum, it happens from some type of a suction, impact, like a boxing glove, for example. You're sweaty and you get punched in the ear. Or maybe you had something jammed too far in your ear and you got hit and it went through the eardrum. Or, God forbid, you are near something that explodes. That can happen. The pressure wave, the concussion can do that. But in my case, what happened was I had tubes in my ears twice when I was very young, and that was to alleviate chronic ear infections. And where they drilled holes in my eardrums and put the tubes, there's obviously scar tissue. It's healed normally. My hearing was great. But what had happened is it was a weak spot. And because when I got hit in the head, I got hit in just the right spot. The weak spot broke, and here we are today. So again, not medical advice. Don't diagnose yourself from this video, but this is what happened to me. I initially intended for this video to come out on Thanksgiving. And that is because this is now, I think we're like a month or so in, maybe a little longer than that, from the injury, and I'm relatively back to normal. I do have a little bit of tinnitus, which we'll talk about in a second, that I think will go away. I hope. It's been, slowly declining as time goes on. So I'm hoping it's going to go away completely, but if that's all I'm left with, then, so be it. I'll be fine. I can hear, but for a long time, I could not hear anything properly out of my left ear. So when I started to mix things or, work on videos, I was terrified because it's like, I don't know if this sounds good. I have no idea what's happening, left versus right. It sounds weird when I sing, it sounds weird when I play, and that was my greatest fear. So Thanksgiving, I thought, hey, that would be great to say I'm grateful I can still hear, because I know some people have never been able to hear. Some people have lost that ability over time, and it's a very serious thing and something that I think I, as well as a lot of people, take for granted. So the video did not come out on Thanksgiving. Obviously, I'm behind, but that's okay. You can still be grateful for things even though it's not Thanksgiving. So I just want to say all this to say, protect your hearing. Wear earplugs. Do not be afraid to wear earplugs. I wear earplugs to every show now that I go and see, and if I'm not on in-ear monitors, I'm wearing them on stage. I have custom molded earplugs with filters so I can still hear things and sing and play guitar. But that might be overkill for you if you're not a musician, or if you are a musician, you say, I don't need all that, just use the regular foam ones. Great. Do whatever you gotta do. If you're gonna be in a loud environment, it doesn't matter whether it's a concert, a bar, whatever, wear earplugs, because anytime you go home, you leave that place and your ears are ringing and they feel tired and fatigued and you've been yelling at the top of your lungs to talk to people all night, you're damaging your hearing and it's compounding over time. And it's just not something you can come back from. Again, that's totally different than the injury I received, but it makes me think of that, and I got a very quick dose of what it would be like to lose hearing in one ear and then have poor hearing in one ear, and it sucks. Just tell you straight up, it sucks. Not only does it suck for your day-to-day life, but if you are somebody who relies on your hearing for anything professional, it really sucks. So make sure you have earplugs. That's all I can say. Protect your hearing, and watch out if a toddler comes jumping at you very quickly, because they can rupture your eardrum. Little did I know.